I just want to thank everybody for being here today and celebrating Kurt. And we're also videotaping this to show all of the people that wrote to us and sent us prayers and gave Kurt encouragement while he was going through all of this. So I want to be sure to share it with them too. So I hope you don't mind, but we've got cameras all over just to share it with all the people that gave us help when we needed it. So the first person that is going to come up here today is Mark, who is Kurt's brother-in-law, Robin's husband, and he's going to talk for my father. My father has written something that he would like to say for Kurt, so Mark, you're up first. I appreciate you being here. With all the rain that's in this now.
Oh, it's okay.
This was written by Pop, and it's called Memories. Kurt was born on December 10th, 1955, but before that day, he had already traveled to California and back. Half the trip, his mother had pneumonia, and we worried for both mother and baby. There were many stops at doctors on the way back to New Jersey. We finally made it back to Union Lake House, and with loving care from Mom Warner, all were back in good health. Then December came, and so did Kurt. These were happy days for the whole family. Linda, his older sister, Grandpa Walter Sr., Grandma Martha, and of course, his mom and pop. Kurt was a live wire from the start. He put everything he had in everything he did, swimming almost before he could walk. We had great times spring and summer at the Union Lake. At age 3, Kurt started to go to archery shoots with us. He liked to watch the archers shoot, so we got a little bow and made him a set of custom arrows. We still have the little set. By the time he reached 4, we were taking him to archery shoots at the Philadelphia Archery Club. The archers would shoot, and while they were getting the scores, we had another target there for him to shoot at, and everyone watched. When he was 12, our club gave a demonstration in Wildwood. We had 3 adults and Kurt on our team. We were shooting at balloons about 12 yards away. We would each take turns shooting, and if we missed the balloon, before the one shooter had a chance to shoot, Kurt again moved fast and broke the balloon. The crowd went crazy. As years went by, he got bigger, the equipment got better, and he became a great archer. Later, we had an indoor range, so the weather didn't keep us from shooting. Every year, the city of Millville had a boys' week where all the kids would compete in all the sports for a medal. There were soapbox derby, baseball, track, and we let the kids shoot the bow and arrows for a medal. Kurt shot a perfect score each year that we had the event. Next Christmas, the main gift was a guitar that wound up becoming his main interest for the rest of his life. Playing in bands led to playing in clubs all over. Music took over his life. He took music lessons, but it seemed that he did just as well picking here and there on his own. Kurt was left-handed, and the teachers wanted him to go righty. He would say no way. He went his own way, and that was the way it went. Then the music started in our basement. First just the guitar, and then the bass guitar, then speakers, and the sound rocked the house on the foundation. With records playing and Kurt playing along with his guitar to add to the vibration, the whole house shook. We had to set up a time to stop for a more peaceful time of night. Kurt gave us many memorable stories over the years, like the one time when my wife, and by my wife I mean his wife, my wife and Margaret were having a cup of coffee in our kitchen, and Kurt just seemed way too thirsty. He kept going into the bathroom just off the kitchen for a glass of water. Every couple of minutes he would come back for another cup of water. After several trips, they questioned him what goes with all the water. So he owned up that what was happening. He had been in the room where we were making the arrows, and we think he had tried to smoke a cigarette, and a spark fell in a barrel that had a dozen glass arrows. The flames melted the resin that held the shafts together. Once the fire was put out, what was left was a lot of fibers hanging loose. After the scare of the fire was over, we had a big laugh over it. We also had a lot of fun when the customer came to get his refinished arrows. He came in and asked if his arrows was finished. I said yes, and went in the other room and took the burned up arrows and said we had a little trouble. He almost went through the floor when he saw the burned up mess. There was enough of the arrows left to see that the arrows were still his. In the end, the fire insurance covered the damage and we had gotten all new shafts finished for him. It was a scary few moments at the start, but after it was all over, all you could do was laugh. Kurt had many ups and downs, highs and lows. He was always in our hearts in every cycle of his life. Loving music and his family and his dog Ringo, Kurt will always be in our hearts.
Thank you, Mark. Well, mine's kind of going to be a repeat of that, because I knew the same Kurt. And I had a problem doing this one, because I just couldn't sit down to write it. It was so hard for me. I kept trying to block thinking about it so that I could keep going and doing what we've been doing. Cleaning out the apartment, finding a home for Ringo, trying to find people to take everything he's owned. So I just kept putting it off. So 4:30 this morning I started writing. So it's not in chronological order, but this is what came to mind. In the place that we are standing right now, we as a family have celebrated Christmas, Easter, birthdays, the 4th of July, but never in my wildest dreams would I have thought we'd all be here today celebrating the life of my brother, speaking of him in the past tense. I started trying to think about what I wanted to say, yet I didn't want to think about it and kept putting it off. So I started to think and focus, and all I could focus about was these last few terrible weeks we've had with him and how much he suffered. So finally I forced myself to think of the past 60 years and how Kurt affected my life. You may not think it as good memories after I spill the beans about Kurt, but it's our history and I'll always treasure it. Like the first time I laid eyes on him, the first baby I was ever introduced to, and I just loved watching Mom and Dad changing his diapers and watching him pee on everybody. I knew he was going to be a handful. He loved the air gun. I had my hair in the nice teased pump, hairdo, and the air gun. I'd be going around the house all the time like that. And he still talked about it today. He loved his big wheel. And we had a great block around the neighborhood. And so every 20 minutes we would wait for the 20 minutes later, we knew he was having a good day. He knew everybody on the block and everybody on the block knew him. Then of course he loved to torture my boyfriends. He still bragged about throwing up on Rodney. He loved tying fireworks to the front door handle, so that when my little Louie would come to pick me up, he'd open the door and pew, 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 pew. That relationship didn't last real long, but Kurt was proud of it. So then I'd babysit him, and police would knock at the door. Your brother's chopping down the school stairs. We need your help. Okay. Babysitting again, police came. Your brother was burning holes in a kid's jacket at a football game. Okay, check. Babysitting, and he put his arms through a glass window. I panicked. Mom and Dad were out of town. Screamed, Grandma, Grandma. Kurt's got his hands through a glass window. Thanks to Grandma and Grandpa, that one was taken care of. Then I was babysitting him. I thought, this is a pretty smooth day. Things are going good. I'm just gonna chill, watch TV. And I found out a few hours later he had gone out his bedroom window, down the roof, and he was out having a night with Tozer. So that was Kurt. And like Pop was saying, that day when Mom and Margaret and I were sitting at the kitchen table, saw that flash go by and into the bathroom. Flash went out into the shop. Flash went into the bathroom. Hear the water running. What the heck? We get up through the living room and there's just nothing but orange. Mom went into shock. I grabbed Robin out of her little toy thing here, and out we went. Here he has put material on fire into a box of feathers next to cans of paint. So we were lucky we got through that one, and the room was still there when the whole thing was over. And then, of course, when he was at Grandmom's, he put her couch on fire down in the basement. He was very ornery, needless to say. He was a good boy. But my fond memories were watching him walk down Broad Street, him and Ringo, fishing rod in his shoulder, walking to go fishing. He loved Ringo. He loved his fishing. And again, like Pop said, his biggest Christmas was when he was going to get his guitar. He was so nervous. He kept leaving while everybody was opening their presents, going into the bathroom and throwing up, because he was so nervous he wasn't going to get his guitar. His stomach was so riled. Finally, they gave him the guitar, and that changed his life. He taught himself how to play guitar, and he was in band after band after band. He was just a great musician, and so many people are writing me now and saying, do you realize what a great musician he was? What a great left-handed bass guitarist. Yeah, I knew it. We went to a lot of concerts, Wildwood, Orlando, wherever we could go to watch him play. We were very proud. It was cute watching him and Beaner have that long friendship right till the end. She was on the phone the day before we went to hospice. Great friends. Always, always there for each other. Even though I tell you all that stuff of how naughty he was, he also had some special moments. He would lay on the floor next to me while I slept in bed so that I would be not fearful of things going on. I was scared at nighttime, the monsters, if a roach came by, whatever. He laid on the floor next to me so that I would feel safe. And as Maddie might remember, the four of us went to Epcot. Uncle John went going around the corner, and around the corner the other way came a guy in a wheelchair. "You SOB!" the guy yells to John. John says, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you coming." The man was furious. John parked the car, and the man came after us in the wheelchair. His wife's trying to stop him, saying, stop it. He said every name and word in the book. As Maddie kept saying, "Please, this child's ears here." Kurt got out of the car and stood next to my door and protected me from the guy who was coming up to our car with the cane and the wheelchair ready to attack us. And here's Kurt. He's got bad legs, bad back, bad everything. And he was out there like an army guy. It was a proud moment to see him like that for us. Anyway, he took off. He went all over the USA, hitchhiking around the country. For almost a year, we'd never heard from him. Did you hear from Kurt? No, I haven't heard from Kurt. Have you heard from Kurt? No, I haven't heard from Kurt. One Christmas, I got a phone call. "Hey, sis." And I said, "Kurt?" He says, "Yeah. Where the hell have you been?" So he started naming all the places, but he says, "Right now I'm in Fort Lauderdale, selling hot dogs and playing bands at night." And he sounded so happy. And so I was so relieved that he was okay, because I truly thought maybe he was dead. That year he few weeks later, sent me a big box of oranges and coconut patties for my Merry Christmas. And I still have that box. He loved being a chef, from Nantucket to Marriott to Disney. And one year he invited us all to the Seasons and gave us a Thanksgiving dinner. We were so proud of him, and he was so proud of himself for what he's accomplished. It was amazing, and the meal was just awesome. He had his marriage to Tracy. He had the first daughter, Vanessa, who he loved and mourned that whole ordeal till his death. He married Mary Ann. She passed away. That big day that we took her to the airport to meet Jenna, he was shaking, he was trembling, he was crying, he had tears in his eyes. He could barely talk. He was so excited to meet his Jenna. It was an adorable meeting. They got along great, and for a few years they had some happy times. The best part for him and us was Madison came into the world. It was the best present for him. Although the marriage didn't work, his life was devoted to Maddie and to make himself a better man. Stopped his boozing, stopped all his past, and stayed there to take care of Maddie. Even when he was bent over, begging for the pain to stop, in the middle of it, he would say, "Do you know what Maddie's going to have for dinner tonight? Is she going to go to Kung Fu?" He never stopped thinking about taking care of her. I know I'm talking too much, but after all, this was 60 years I'm following. I'm skipping a lot of stuff. But his many calls, "Sis, I need you. I need you to bail me out. Sis, I need you. My car's broken down. Sis, I need you. I'm sick. This one I couldn't fix." I was feeling guilty that I complained so much because we always had to clean out his trashed apartments. And now we did the same for this apartment. But I'm sad because I know I won't be doing it anymore. So I just want to say I love you, Kurt, and I always will. The next person up is, I forget.
I don't want to follow that one.
Robin, were you coming up?
Yeah.
Yes. And we're doing it in this order because Maddie wanted to do it in the order of who met Kurt first. So Mom and Dad met him first. I was next, Robino, etc. So thank you for listening, and Robin, it's all yours.
This is my time here. Yes, so they didn't leave me a whole lot. A couple memories of Kurt, and I had a poem that I thought was appropriate. One of my first memories of Kurt is, sorry, yours is much more. Mom and Dad left for the day, and it was a snowy day. And his instruction, Mom and Dad's instruction to Kurt was, make sure your sister is dry when she comes in the house. So somehow Kurt thought that meant stick your sister in the dryer. So I went in the dryer with my clothes on, screaming the whole time, and I could hear him laughing the whole time.
He's laughing right now.
Yes. And we talked about that up to the end. It was just, it was a Kurt thing. When we moved to 3rd Street in my grandparents' house, Kurt had this garden that he wanted me to help him grow. And he said there's times that he wouldn't be there, and if I could go back out there and water it, he'd really appreciate it. So diligently, every day after school, I went back to the doghouse and watered his secret garden. Little did I know, as 10-year-old Robin, I was growing marijuana in my backyard.
And you did a fine job, I might add.
I did. They look great.
Very healthy.
No, I know. If I had known, things would have been different. He was very proud of his girlfriends, and we were about 5 years difference in age. So I followed his conquests, and there was this one girl, Diane Wright. She was adorable. And we had French provincial doors, so they were all glass, and he thought he was alone. Mom and Dad were gone, and I could see two figures in the night, kissing, rolling around. You know, I'm what, 8, 10? I don't know what's going on, but I heard noises, and you know, in my adult life, looking back on this, I'm thinking, now I know what happened, what was going on in there. But he would come up to my room at night and have these giant hickeys on his neck. I'm sorry, Maddie. Sorry.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would come up with these beautiful hickeys, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. How do you get those things? Yeah. So, yeah, that's my great memories of Kurt. Unfortunately, I missed out on a lot of the other stuff because we didn't live close together, but thankfully we had Facebook and the phone, so we talked quite a bit. I have a poem, if I can get through it. It's called Memories in the Heart. Feel no guilt in laughter. He knows how much you care. Feel no sorrow in a smile. That's not here to share. That he's not here to share. You cannot grieve forever. He wouldn't want you to. He'd hope that you carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times and the ways you showed you care. The days you spent together and the happiness you shared. Let memories surround you. A word someone may say will suddenly recapture a time, an hour, a day that brings them back as clearly as though he were here still today, and fills you with the feelings that he's always near. For if you keep these moments, you will never be apart, and you will live forever, safe, locked within your heart. There's one memory I'm not particularly proud of, but I know that my dad and brother really appreciated it. And many photos were in this garden here. It was my job to make Kurt laugh, because he would do a lot of smiling with his teeth. It was my job to make my dad laugh. So I had this app on my phone, and a lot of the later pictures, I used this app. I really struggled with whether or not I should do this or not, but I think Kurt would be sorely disappointed if I didn't. So the last few days in the hospital, it was just me, him, and I think Maddie, and I broke out the app. He wasn't talking a lot, wasn't really laughing or showing a lot of expression, but I did this one thing on my phone, and I got a belly laugh from him, and it was huge to see. And so with that in mind, Kurt, this one's for you. I love you, man. Thank you. Rob. You hung in there. You did good.
What you got? You got the fart machine.
So Jenna would like to say
really
a
juicy
few words. You all know Jenna, so take it away, Jenna.
I'm still laughing about the fart. Yeah, Mom. Am I hurting you? No. I'm not hurting you. You got this.
There is I'm short.
Kurt always is saying that I had to always have the last word, so here goes. It is unfortunate that when a relationship ends in a divorce, the only part of the relationship that stands out are the bad parts. The good parts get lost in bitterness and are either forgotten or denied their existence. It had to take the passing away of that one significant other to realize that at one time there was good, there was laughter, there was music, there was happiness, and there was an undeniable bond between two people who deeply loved each other. It's easy to remember the bad times, but remembering the good times is how I will choose to honor Kurt's life. It's simple, real. All I have to do is look in her daughter's eyes, and though she shares my brown eyes, inside of them are her father. For in Madison, you will find Kurt's love of music, his stubbornness, his tenacity, his curiosity, and his sense of humor. Though it's hard to believe he is gone from this earth, his spirit lives on in her. One of the things that Kurt and I had in common was our love for music. Some of the best times we shared were sitting around the computer, having a beer, taking turns playing and sharing music we love on jukebox. Oh, those Napster days. I remember when he took me to my first concert after coming back from the Philippines, and we saw Aerosmith, Kurt's favorite band next to the Beatles. We saw them in Tampa, and so, since Kurt had seen them like a bunch of times already, he knew which of the old songs they would always perform. And of course, since I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was our song, and it brought us together to begin with, it was really special when Aerosmith sang it. It was an awesome night, and I still have that t-shirt. The best part of our relationship, aside from Maddie, was that we always managed to laugh at the dumbest things. I remember when Kurt was getting acupuncture to treat the pain from his herniated discs. He had to pull his pants down and lie on his stomach. The needles are tiny and it didn't hurt when the acupuncturist is putting him in his back and in his buttocks. Then she turned on this huge magnetic machine and it made the needles vibrate and pulse. When the treatment was done, Kurt, who was skeptical about the procedure, felt some relief from the pain. That is until the acupuncturist started taking the needles out, and one of the needles in his ass just absolutely refused to come out. His butt muscles was clenching onto that damn needle for dear life, and no amount of pulling from the acupuncturist would get it out. Even I tried to pull it out, and it was like Excalibur stuck on that damn stone. We were laughing so hard, and the more that Kurt laughed, the more his butt clenched onto that needle. The acupuncturist called a couple of assistants, and instead of asking them for help and suggestion, she says to them, "Hey, take a look at this. Have you ever seen this happen?" Of course, as soon as they saw it, they started laughing. And can you just picture it? Kurt with his pants down, his midsection propped up on a pillow with a medical exam light shining on his lily white ass with a needle stuck in it. It was a sight to behold, and every time we talked about that day, we laughed until we had tears running down our faces. And me trying not to pee. In the short time we had as a couple, we had a lot of trials and tribulations, but we also had a lot of adventures and fun. I learned how to cook, how to make a proper grilled cheese sandwich. That's another story for another time. Kurt loved to show off his cooking skills, and one time for Valentine's Day, he went to the butcher's in St. Cloud, got 2 perfect cuts of filet mignon, grilled them perfectly, and fashioned a heart-shaped brand out of a large paper clip so he could brand the steaks with a heart. He was always cooking the best food, and I could always count on coming home from school and work, and there would always be a perfectly cooked hot dinner waiting for me. The one thing, though, Kurt did not like was me being in his kitchen, unless I was cooking Asian food. At least I taught him how to cook Asian food, and Kurt, wherever you are, me and my belly thank you for all those years of good food. In closing, some of my coworkers say to me, "Jenna, how good of you and Michael to be there for your ex-husband during this difficult time." Honestly, I don't think there's anywhere else I'd rather be. I am and will always be grateful for Kurt for all that he has done for me and my sons and my family. And I'm grateful for the gift that is my daughter Madison. And I'm grateful for the good times that we spent together. Kurt, we may no longer see you with our eyes or touch you with our hands, but your memory will always be in our hearts forever. Rest in peace. Thank you.
that brought a memory to me. Well,
Craig,
good seeing you again, Craig.
bring
That-
tissue.
that
You're
brought
prepared.
a memory to me about Kurt and being in his kitchen. Because as you know, in the last months, I stayed there and cooked. Not real good, but I was cooking for them and whatever they wanted. I was doing their dinners and stuff. And he's barely awake for most of the day. And if he walks, he's bent over and he's in a lot of pain because his disc was broken and whatever. So I said, how about if I make you
A Reuben?
what is a Reuben?
Ha.
Thank you. A Reuben.
Cool name.
He says, oh, great, I would love that, because he wasn't eating for days and days. And so he was really interested in it. I said, great, I'll do it. He goes, you get the grill out, and then you put the pan over here, you take the butter, and then you have to put the meat here, and you do this here. I says, no problem, I'll be able to make it, it's no problem. So I come back for the afternoon to do it, and he's in the kitchen. I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm going to make the Reubens. I said, oh my God, Kurt, get back in bed. He said, well, I just want to be sure. He puts his gloves on, you know. He did everything but put his chef jacket on and started it. But then as he got halfway through, he said, I'm sorry, I got to go lay down. But he was a chef to the end. It was an amazing moment. I can't believe that he was telling me how to more or less make a grilled cheese sandwich. But now his great friend, Craig, who has been there for so long for him and bent over backwards for him, and even brought his giant chair to help her have some comfort.
That's a comfy chair.
Craig would like to say some
Tough.
things. Yeah.
You got this.
I didn't know Kurt nearly as long as you guys, and I've heard tons of stories. So many stories about what he used to be. I didn't know him during that time. And when he would tell me these things, I just couldn't believe it, because I've only known him since he's had Maddie. And he said he changed after that. And obviously for the better, because the stories he used to tell me were just unbelievable. Kurt did everything to extreme. If he was drinking, he didn't drink one or two. It was a case or two a day, every day. And I said, how did you function like that? He says, just get up and go to work. That was just how I did everything. And there were other things that Kurt took to extremes as well. And I won't get into all of them, but you're all aware of it. Smoking was another thing. When he did it 3 packs a day. How could you just do that so much? It's just how I was. Did one thing I did it great. And he did. And including what he loved to do, which was, and that's how I met him, was through music. Without a doubt, the best bassist I've ever played. I loved playing with Kurt. He did something that I was never able to do, and that was he made a living for a long time playing music, and that's musician's dream. So, I mean, he actually lived it. When he tells me the stories of playing in Jersey, playing the shore, just all summer long, that's what he did. He made a living as a musician, which I would have loved to have been able to do it. And when you get the opportunity to play with somebody like that, you take it and you try to learn from it. I'm always a hothead. When it comes, I'm going to tell a story of Kurt got us a gig. This was in Carbon Copy. He got us a gig at a place that he played with Rubber Soul. It was another band he was in at the time. And he worked out the same deal that we played 2 sets for $200. It was a Sunday night. So I didn't want to play it in the first place because I had to work the next day. The guy said, yeah, let's do it. It'd be great. Okay, let's do it. We played our 2 sets, and now we're getting ready to leave. And the bartender says, well, we were told you guys were going to play 3 sets. 3 sets for $200? I don't think so. I'm getting ready to fly off the handle. And so Kurt gets on the phone. He's talking to the manager. He says, no problem, we'll do it. I'm like, Kurt, that wasn't the agreement. He says, don't worry, we got this. Kurt decides that what we're going to do is we're going to play the last 45 minutes, but we're going to play one song. We're going to play Knocking on Heaven's Door, and we're going to play for 45 minutes straight. And that's what we did, just so that we could, and I'm not like that. But he had the experience, and he knew how to get one over on he was smart with when it came to stuff like this, and I loved him for it. Because he kept me, I was able to get paid that night because of his thinking. We got paid, and I should add that the last song of the second set was Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Oh gosh.
So we opened up the third set, and we just played one song. It was the other song we just played. So it was great, and I enjoyed doing that with him. And I miss every day that we didn't get to play. And when he got sick, it was the one time we were going to get back to our buddy Craig's house to play that one last time. And I had a feeling that if he didn't make it, we weren't going to be able to do it again, because you could tell that he was getting worse every day. I missed my Mondays. Every Monday night I'd go up there, just even before he got sick, he was always in pain. He'd just go up there and make sure the guy's doing okay. And he'd always feel bad. He'd ask me to, hey, Mom and Pop, they're having trouble with their speaker. Would you mind? Of course not. I don't mind helping them out. And he was always worried that I would be like upset for trying to help him. Of course not. Let's go there and take care of a problem. I loved our time playing at the church. It was really, it's just such a great guy, and it really hit me. I think when Rob and we were there, he was still in his house, and he brought a lot of people. And he used to say the same thing to me every day before I would leave. Just tell me to be careful. There's a history behind that. I think my brother he was always like, please be careful driving. And in the height of his pain, and I've said this to everybody, I've never seen anybody suffer as much as I've seen her suffer. It didn't complain. The whole time, did not complain. But as I'm getting ready to leave, I asked him if I could have a hug. And he said, of course. So I gave him a hug and said, please be careful driving. Kurt, you can't keep worrying about me. You're the one that, please just stop. And I had to give him another hug. And it hit me really hard, because even through all his suffering, he was still worried about everybody else. And that was Kurt. I loved him like a brother. And I miss him every day. I really miss him on Mondays. Monday's the toughest day for me still. So that's all.
Kurt Meredith Warner, December 10th, 1955 to March 30th, 2016. This is the lifespan of a beloved son, prankster brother, a caring friend, funny uncle, and to me, was a nurturing father, who in my life played many parts. Now, today I tell you all the story of this man's life, but through the eyes of his forever precious girl, me. Not even 3 minutes have passed, small brown eyes staring out into the world. Two figures stand before me, which later I will come to know as my mother and father. As years passed, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches were shoved into VCRs. Sesame Street theme songs were hummed. Ni Hao Cayenne flickered across the old Sanyo screen. I remember guitar chords all intertwined in infinite loops and tangles, covering the carpet floor back at 519. The smell of bread wafted through the air. My father used to tell me how I'd get all excited and recognize him just from the smell of his coat. Smelled like a bakery. On the side, though, Mom would drive into practice with his band. Loud chords and instrumentals were played, all combining into a melody of perfection. A unique sound was created. He used to play in bars, mini stages of festivals, even a strip club Rachel's. He wrote his own music. Music was the beat and melody of this man's life. Ever since the age of 7, was playing bass and guitar, learning new notes and melodies second by second. Each chord played was like another beat to his heart. Without music, he was lost without it. He could never get through everything he went through. Finally, when I turned 7, he was the father of a cute little first grader. Pigtails all perfectly put up, matching princess backpack and lunchbox, and a neon pink and green soccer ball that I used to kick around the house. As a few more years passed, joy and pride filled his heart. He was the proud parent of a girl with straight A's, perfect attendance, a teacher's favorite, and a girl full of joyous spirit. Traditions became set in stone. I remember every Sunday he and I would go to AMC and see a new movie. The last movie we saw actually was Deadpool. Afterwards, we go to 051 Subs and order the same thing. 1 California cheesesteak. Then we came home and watched the football game. And a few more movies before I went to sleep. Our favorites were Austin Powers. He'd used to say, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah, again." Sixth grade came. The grades of his perfect girl turned out to be not so perfect. Drama hit, thoughts arrived. New things came to mind. I remember the look on his face, not full of anger or even bitter disappointment. It was a look so hard to describe. Just filled with tears his eyes as his heart broke, breaking for his girl whose heart was shattered as well. My father, although stubborn and ornery at times, he was a good father. For the time he was here, once I came into the world, he reinvented himself, quit the bad habits that were killing him, and became a better man. His priorities, even till the end, were on me. Caring about how I was, if I ate, did I get enough sleep, how did school go? His heart and compassion were completely focused on me, as well as those around him. Yes, sometimes a bit bitter or hidden away, but for the last days, he was grateful, happy, never complained a single time. And I just thought that was so remarkable. How can you not complain when every day I complain probably 1,000 times about if I got hit or punched or even just flicked in the arm? But he cherished what he had left. What he had left, and for that, I don't think I could be more thankful. Sure, I admit, it hurts. Now waking up to him every morning, seeing his quirky grin, listening to his old stories from when he was a kid, doing all our old traditions, like the ones on Sunday, or even just the ones every day we had. He'd make me my tea and I'd pretend to be a little spoiled British kid. Or even making a batch of chocolate gelato that Pop-Pop loves so much. But I think I'm so fortunate to have known and spent time with him while he was here because, some kids never even met their parents or feel the compassion that is needed to fill their mind with faith and hope for the world. Yeah, these last couple of weeks have been hard, but hey, it could be worse. It honestly could be. To all of you, I just want everyone to remember something. No matter the obstacle of what life throws at you, you can get through it. That it will be hard at times, but you just have to look at the bright side of things and find the sun through the clouds. Because your state of mind, if it's like a hurricane of rushing negativity, then it will only make you feel worse. Smile. Find the little good quirks in your day. Make someone else feel good. It's the small things in life that will drive you to a better present and a better future. No matter how much you're hurting, as they say, fake it till you make it, Mom. Because eventually, your smile, it will be real again, I promise you. Thank you.
Good job, Maddie. Well, you hung in there, Maddie. You did great.
Yeah.
Everybody roasted?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
Just hand it.
it's time to plant the tree in honor of Kurt. And then, I'm gonna sprinkle on the top and we'll mix it in. I can't believe this is my brother that I'm doing this with. Robin, I'd like to give you some of this to put in the dryer. Paybacks are hell. But we love you, Kurt, and we're happy you're still with us. We love you, and we love your guitar. We're both there. love you. Just covered. That's good.
You know, we're all crying our hearts out. He's probably having a great time with all the band.
Yeah, he's got a lot more to play with now.
Yeah.
There's the
Not the
stone.
hard living, but that is a little bit. But.
Way down south they had it too, believe